What is the size of your faith? Look at your dreams. Look at the magnificent, towering vision you hold in the quietest chambers of your heart. The life you want to build, the person you aspire to become, the impact you yearn to make on the world. It feels like a mountain, doesn't it? A colossal, unmovable peak, so vast and so distant that you, in your smallness, feel like a single grain of sand at its base. And so, you are paralyzed. You're overwhelmed. You look at the smallness of your resources, the smallness of your influence, the smallness of your own courage, and you whisper to yourself the most ancient and destructive lie. It is impossible. But what if the entire kingdom of heaven, the very power that creates worlds, operates on a completely different logic? What if the universe is not moved by the great and the mighty, but by the small and the insignificant? What if the key to moving mountains is not a force of equal size, but a seed? A single, tiny, almost invisible seed. This is the parable of the mustard seed. It is not just a gentle story for a quiet Sunday morning. It is a divine law of creation. It is the blueprint for all significant growth, all lasting achievement, and all true power. It is the secret that separates the lives that wither in the dust of doubt from the lives that grow into a sanctuary for the world. The kingdom of heaven, he said, is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all the seeds on earth. So small, you could hold a dozen in the palm of your hand and feel nothing. It is a symbol of the insignificant, the overlooked, the thing the world dismisses as powerless. And that seed, my friend, is your faith. It is that tiny, fragile, and often ridiculed flicker of belief you hold for a future that does not yet exist. It is the quiet whisper in your soul that says, "What if?" It is the audacious, almost insane idea that you, with all your flaws and all your history, are capable of something more. The world demands proof. It demands a finished product. It demands the towering tree before it will ever believe in the seed. And so, most people wait. They wait to feel confident before they act. They wait for a guarantee of success before they invest. They wait for the world's permission to become the person they were born to be. And they wait their entire lives, their pocket full of precious, unplanted seeds, and they die in a barren field of their own inaction. But the Creator, the person of faith, understands a different law. They understand that the power is not in the outcome. The power is in the planting. The act of taking that one tiny, insignificant seed of faith and having the courage to place it in the dark, uncertain soil of the present moment. That is the most powerful act in the universe. It is an act of defiance against the tyranny of your own doubt. It is a declaration of war against the evidence of your current circumstances. It is a sacred vow, a promise you make to the future that you will act on a vision that only you can see. This is the nature of true faith. It is not a passive hope that things will get better. It is the active, disciplined, and courageous choice to act as if they already are. It is the discipline to see the mighty, branching tree in the heart of the tiny seed. This requires a vision, a clear, definite, and unwavering picture of what you're planting this seed for. You're not just planting a seed, you're planting a sanctuary. You're planting a future where the birds of the air, the opportunities, the people, the resources will come and find shelter in your branches. Without this vision, the act of planting is meaningless. It is your vision that gives the seed its purpose. It is your belief that gives it its power. And so I ask you this question. What is the mustard seed that you are holding in your hand right now? What is that small, fragile, yet divinely planted idea that you've been too afraid to plant, too afraid to act on, because the world has told you it is too small to matter? Share it in the comments below and declare to the world what you intend to grow. For the kingdom of heaven does not begin with a thunderclap. It does not begin with an earthquake. It begins with a whisper. It begins with a choice. It begins with the quiet, courageous, and world-altering act of planting a single, tiny seed. You have planted the seed. You have made the choice. You have performed the single, most powerful act of creation. But the work is not over. It has just begun. For the journey of the seed, from insignificance to magnificence, is a long, silent, and often brutal trial. This is the stage where most dreams die. Not in the planting, but in the waiting. This is the domain of discipline. Discipline is the quiet, daily, and sacred act of tending to the seed you have planted. It is the unwavering faith you demonstrate, not in a moment of grand inspiration, but in the thousand mundane moments that follow. The world will not applaud you for planting the seed. It will not see the vision you see. It will only see the dark, empty soil, and it will call you a fool. This is the first test, the test of your own conviction. Can you hold the vision of the great tree in your mind, even when the world shows you nothing but dirt? Can you believe in the harvest while you are still in the season of planting? This is not just a test of patience. It is a test of your faith made manifest. The seed does not erupt into a tree overnight. It grows in the darkness, in the silence, through a process that is invisible to the naked eye. And so it is with your own great purpose. The most significant growth happens in the unseen. It happens in the early mornings when you choose to study instead of sleep. It happens in the late nights when you choose to practice your craft instead of surrendering to distraction. It happens in the quiet moments when you choose to feed your mind with thoughts of faith and possibility instead of the poison of fear and doubt. This is the work, the silent, unglamorous, and relentless work of the gardener. You must protect your seed from the weeds of negativity. The opinions of others are the weeds. Your own self-doubt is the greatest weed of all. You must, with the discipline of a warrior, uproot them every single day. You must guard the sacred ground of your own mind with a ferocious love for the vision you have planted there. And you must have the wisdom to understand the nature of growth. There will be seasons of drought, when your efforts seem to yield no results, when your inspiration runs dry, when the sky is a barren expanse of bronze. In these moments, your discipline is the water you must carry drop by precious drop to keep your seed alive. It is the act of showing up even when you feel empty. It is the act of performing the ritual even when the magic seems to have faded. This is the faith that separates the amateur from the master. The master knows that the drought is a temporary season, and they continue to tend the soil with unwavering trust in the process. And there will be storms. The storms of criticism, of failure, of heartbreak. The winds will howl, the rains will beat down, and it will feel as if your tiny, fragile sprout is about to be washed away. These are the moments that will test the very roots of your belief. But you must understand this. The storm is not there to destroy your seed. It is there to strengthen it. The wind that batters the young sapling is the very force that compels its roots to grow deeper, to anchor themselves more firmly in the earth. Do not pray for a life without storms. Pray for deeper roots. Pray for the resilience to withstand the wind. Every challenge you overcome is another layer of strength added to the trunk of your own character. Every failure you learn from is another branch reaching for the heavens. The storm is not an interruption of your growth. It is an essential part of it. It is the divine alchemy that transforms the fragile sprout into the unbreakable oak. And then it happens. So slowly at first that you might not even notice it, the great tree begins to grow. It is no longer just a vision in your mind. It is a reality in the world. It pushes its way through the hard soil of your circumstances, its branches reaching for the sun, its roots anchoring it against the storms. And the world, which once called you a fool, now begins to see. The birds of the air, the very opportunities and resources you once chased, now come and find shelter in your branches. People are drawn to your strength, to your certainty, to the quiet, powerful shade of your accomplishment. Your single, tiny seed of faith, nurtured by the relentless discipline of your daily efforts, has become a sanctuary, a landmark, a testament to the divine law of growth. You have become the tree. Your life has become the proof. The joy you feel is not the shallow happiness of a life of ease. It is the deep, profound, and unbreakable joy of the Creator. The joy of the gardener who stand in the shade of the great oak that grew from the tiny acorn they once held in their hand. This is the promise. This is the law. The kingdom of heaven, the life of your dreams, is not a distant, impossible mountain to be conquered. It is a seed that is in your hand right now. It is small. It is fragile. The world will tell you it is insignificant, but within it lies the blueprint for a masterpiece. Within it lies the power to move mountains. The only question is, will you have the courage to plant it?